find most of the needles, stuff like that. We walked back there, caught a girl with a needle in her arm. Now, are we supposed to call you guys right then and there and let you guys know? Because I told the officers about it when we handed them over the needles, and they were kind of like, oh, it's normal.
That's a great question, and we talked about it with Donna this morning. If you see that, you guys don't want to get in a confrontation with people. Just back out, call the police. They're using illegal drugs, and we'll take care of that. I'm going to tell you what you guys are doing is very commendable, and I think you guys are doing nice by cleaning up these parks. I gotta talk to legal review with some things. It's not something the police department is directing you to do or what to do, but I want to help you in a way to do this. And I've talked to Don, and it sounds good. You got 2,000 members, and I don't know exactly who's active and who participates, and you have a lot of nursing staff, and you have people who are. I think it's something I should get involved with Commissioner Suey with parks. He should be aware. Maybe there should be some kind of program that we don't want you to pick up a needle and get stuck with it.
Right.
We don't want you to transport it, bring it to a commission meeting and say, look what I found.
Right.
The problem with it is if you transport that, if it's in your car, and say a state trooper pulls you over, they don't know what you're doing.
Right.
It's illegal by statute to possess it, so be careful.
Yeah, we call, when we get everything, we keep it in a container, and we call, wait for them to come pick it up. But like I said, when I told the two officers that came out, and that was kind of a rough day.
While they're working?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I know about it. I let them do it.
Yeah, and the couple officers that came out to pick the needles up that day, when I told them, about the girl with the needle in her arm, they were just like, oh yeah, that happens. Well, I mean, and I know it does happen, and she wasn't there for me to be able to point her out or anything like that, but, it's just kind of, that's where we find the majority of what we're finding. They go back there and they sit and, hang out, and, I just,
Do you feel that it's daytime, nighttime?
I'll tell you what, man, I think it's 24/7, man. I mean, I think we've kind of disrupted their time to going out there hanging out, because there'll be times, me and my wife, we'll go out, we'll just decide to go take a walk, and we'll pick up bags and stuff like that, try and clean up, but they know that we come out on Sundays, so they're not really back there. The one girl obviously didn't know, because she saw us cleaning up, waited for us to leave. We left, and I told her, I was like, I bet you she's back there, and the group walked back, and there she was with a needle in her arm.
Do you think that maybe if there would be idea of a curfew at our parks to be enforced, in other words, I think maybe it'd be an arm that the police department would possibly use if they're riding through and they see someone at a particular hour of the night that really don't belong there, because and I know they're there for a reason.
Right.
But if they give the police department calls to stop them due to you're in a park, you're not supposed to be there after.
The signs say you can't be there after dark, after dusk. It says it.
I'm talking,
Yeah.
dark. No,
I've
I'm
actually
saying maybe
looked
10
that up.
o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, or somewhere in that area.
Right.
Because it's not just, I'm sure, needles and things, there's probably prostitution.
Oh,
going
yeah.
on.
Oh, yeah.
There's a mattress back on the trail.
The mayor can look at that and talk to Commissioner Suey, it's a commissioner's, commissioners deal with it, or if the police department would recommend that, or maybe not.
Right.
Maybe it's too much for the.
But I think that again, this is all gonna come back to this question of manpower. And one thing that I think that we all need to consider here tonight is to, leave this meeting, talk to a couple of neighbors, try to get some more people on board with this, because eventually what we can do is, because we're all people that are concerned with safety, we all have these ideas that we would love to see come to fruition, but we know they're not going to until the police department has more people, is that we can go to commission meetings and say, you know what, we want more officers. And if that means that we, if we talk about a sales tax, if we talk about a property tax, if we talk about alternative ways to come up with the money or whatever, that this is a potential voting block of citizens that is going to say we need to put city safety first. And I think that that's something that we all kind of need to consider, our part of it.
To piggyback on what you were just saying, one thing I could say, when I first moved into this area about 12 years ago, I called the police almost for any little thing. You have to understand, I came from Princeton, it's a little different.
Oh, I understand.
So,
I came from Brooklyn, it was nothing to me.
but I noticed after a while that the activity was slowing down, and we began to hear rumors that people weren't moving onto our block because somebody kept calling the police too much.
Good for you.
Fine by me, I don't care. But one thing that the diligence that my husband and I had, that we do call the police, and they do come quickly. I mean, maybe it's our proximity to City Hall, I don't know. But they come quickly, they handle the problem. If the problem's done, they do make that slow drive-by, you know, flashlights if they
Right.
have to, if it's at night. If there's a noise issue, music, it's taken care of. The residents are not happy. They figured out who calls, but you know what? They're gone within a year, and they tell everybody else, don't go in that block because they call the police. And we have a lot of empty apartments on our block right now.
Well, I'm gonna clap for you too. Nice job for calling the police.
And another thing, like you were saying too, when it comes to them being in the park, like after 11 o'clock and stuff like that, I was talking to, what's his name who walks with us? Scott. I was talking to him about it. And, you know, if you're in the park after 11 o'clock, I personally feel like the police officer should have a right to be able to run your name, search it, whatever, but you obviously
If you put an
can't.
ordinance together and put the curfew there,
Right.
that's something legally they can do.
Right.
Just to stop somebody because they're out at night walking.
Right, but I mean, if you're in them troubled areas,
I'm
I would imagine.
See, I know
I'm down to talk, by the way.
Thank you for doing what you're doing. But, you know, so there are areas and means that possibly could be done.
Right.
Bottom line is, it comes down to money.
Right.
Tax dollars.
We definitely
That's what the
understand
mayor
they
has
have
to
to
deal
decide.
with. Yeah, and the commissioners.
Right.
You know, you have to get out there and meet force with force. That's the bottom line.
I agree.
What you people are doing out there, believe it or not, you're making an impact.
Yes.
You are making an impact, and that's appreciated by all people who are concerned.
Right.
So, you know, keep doing that, and maybe, you know, I know the difficulty they have as a commission. I mean, it's not an easy job. It's not an easy job that the captain's doing, you know.
Right, I agree.
That, when he becomes the chief officially, he's a great individual. I've known him for many years. I've hired him guys.
Yeah, he was my sergeant, he made me sergeant.
Yeah.
He was the public safety director at the time.
But, you know, I understand that, and we understand.
Right. And it's just, you know, certain times you walk down there, especially during the day, families are walking by, and you got people sitting in that one main gazebo.
I will say
mean,
this,
there's-
I do have futuristic plans back there. Okay. It does require some, we're looking at class twos, I can have them on bikes, we can do the trail.
Right.
I talked to Jane Galetta, she gave me some I gave her some recommendations. I'm very on this whole issue, I understand it. But unfortunately, I have a couple specials now, they're required by Merck to do some things on High Street. I'm telling them to go off and, you know, venture off in them areas, but, you know, right now, I mean, I said, I talked to Jane Galetta, use the buddy system. I mean, it's not, she's, what, you want people scared to? I said, that's something the whole nation does, so, you know, and I don't recommend people being there after dark hours, so. And if they are there, and so we see them there, we have a right to ask them what they're doing there. We have a right to ask them their name, and, you know, because we have a right to issue them a summons. Awesome. You know, a city ordinance.
And when we have these extra 20 cops, instead of these guys that are going call to call to call,
Right.
they can't get to the parks, now we can at least dedicate a few officers to the park.
Right, and I
So they
understand
can
that
be
takes
there.
time too. but-
You have to understand, like I had Lieutenant Harry Kramer here, and he's not here, and he had to go to a call. He'd love to be at this meeting with you, but this just, it's just the nature of it.
Right.
Mayor, I know you keep talking about 20 cops, and then I know that you know that
Yeah,
that's true.
I'll take one,
But what's 20 cops cost?
a lot of money.
Here's the
What's
investment you're gonna
one
get out of it.
Well, you gotta figure, if you, first of all, the academy, don't even think about that, you have to talk about pay, and I don't even think about pay, but it's the health
Health and
package.
benefits, right?
It's the health package that's real, let's say a first-year police officer probably total, and I'm guessing, is probably costing the city between $50,000 and $60,000.
Just
Well,
in health.
we have
Well,
problems.
that's the whole, that's health, his pay, training, you gotta put a uniform on him, you gotta buy the equipment for him, and if you need a car, you may have to purchase a car. So there's a lot of different things that come into play.
How does it work as far as, like the sheriff's department? Could
Where
some of
I
them-
work there.
I understand you do, yeah, but I mean, like, would some of them be able to, I know like they serve warrants and they keep pretty busy too, but, like, would that?
We do patrol, especially when there's hot spots, we do that. We worked well with Millville Police in the past. With Jody taking over, I expect that to continue. I know he's young, progressive, and he's got a lot of ideas. It's gonna take time for things to evolve, but I think he's gonna do a great job for you, and we're here to help him in anything he needs, so.
Okay.
Thank you, Sheriff. I wanna say this, and for the sheriff, we do thank the sheriff's department because they do.
Right.
If you guys have seen it, they bring their bikes out there, Chief Salazzo, he's, I know him for a long, long time. I can call him up and say, listen, and you guys, there's a good piece to this, so we call them, and without a doubt, they're here to help us. And I've done that. I mean, I've thought outside the box, being in charge. I've had meetings with New Jersey State Police, street gangs units. I've talked to the Metro, and actually they pulled out of Camden. They're in our town. They're helping us undercover stuff, and we've done a lot of things. And I'm reaching every string I can pull to make Millville safer. And I want to thank, the sheriff while he's here, that never once had ever asked for him for help, that he hasn't given it to us, so. And we can still, we go up together. So.
Jody, I have a question. Have you guys thought, I know you just recently got promoted and got a whole bunch of stuff you're doing, but have you guys thought about doing what Camden did and going countywide policing? So where you have Vineland, Millville, and Bridgeton, and the sheriff's department kind of dividing it up, and the whole county is being covered. That way it'll give you guys a little bit more help with the Millville police. If you had some of even the state troopers, have them patrol, everybody knows that they're out. Because I live in nothing but state trooper territory, and I do see some of the sheriffs, because I moved out of Millville back to Laurel Lake. I'm in the woods. And I do see the sheriff's officers on bikes. They park at Eddie's Corner and they hop on their bike and they're patrolling around. I'm like, sheriff's officers on Laurel Lake police here. I'm used to seeing nothing but state troopers out there. But the sheriff's officers are out there on bike. Have you guys thought maybe about doing a countywide where you have Vineland and Bridgeton cops also patrolling in Millville?
I will say this, up north that does happen. Where we live in Cumberland County, we have 3 large police departments. I don't see that ever coming anytime soon. I see probably the benefit of it, but there'll probably be, it will reduce in probably taxes. I don't know. I'm speculating, but no. To answer your question, but I will say this: we do things proactively that we don't put in the paper. In light of what's going on with Bridgeton, their shooting that they had, we were preparing for that in case of a riot ever came about.
Yeah, I remember that.
Very surprised.
I don't know how you know because this is all private. I mean, we did special training where we can deploy many officers to a site, to Bridgeton, Vineland, Millville, whatever town had the problem. So we're prepared for that. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
But that's not for me to say. If we're all going to be a countywide police, I think that's probably far away right now.
I think one of the problems that you have to understand that Millville is a 44 square mile municipality. A lot of area. You look at Bridgeton, it's like 2.5 miles or 3
Right.
miles.
They got more cops than us.
Seven square miles.
That's what we're faced with. In Millville, that we are a large acre-wise community for the police department, the small numbers that we have.
Vineland has 78 square miles?
68.
Oh, I'm sorry, Vineland got it. 65. How many cops does Vineland have now?
Probably about 160.
160
When I
cops.
came on, there were 160, we're 74. When I came on, there were only 20 cops ahead of us. That's how far.
What could we do as citizens, budget-wise, when you're going before this mayor, to do what we can to say we need X amount of police officers within reason, and put that quota for the next 5 years or 6 years what the chief is going to need, because, you're not gonna do it all at once.
Correct.